Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Radio Row here with the NFL Alumni. And we've got a guy who I've been fascinated by, three-time Super Bowl champ, Mr. Lonnie Paxton. Lonnie, how are you?
How you doing, buddy? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing good. And I mean, he's been throwing up that three. Look at this, folks. He's been throwing up that three for a long time. You know this guy pretty well.
Yeah. I mean, we go back. We go back before the fame and the fortune and the families.
How good does it feel to see him still competing at this level, man? What are you shocked by that?
No, I'm honestly not. I mean, he's done it the right way throughout his career. As I mentioned, we just came in as hungry rookies back in 2000, and he was given his opportunity, through an injury and capitalized on it. And ever since that time, just been really focusing on his body, on understanding the game, on making everyone better around him. And, obviously we had we had the Belichick regime and we had a lot of supporting casts, the Willies and Teddies and Rodneys and Matt Lights and all these guys that really helped drive that message home. Mike Vrabel, Larry Izzo, all those guys. And so, born in the NFL through kind of that team and that work ethic, and then has just, done it for so long.
And we always hear that term, right? That backups got to stay ready. People got to stay ready. But for a guy, when he came in and took up for Bledsoe and to where he's taken this thing, did you notice at that time any difference in him compared to other guys that you played with, even when he wasn't the starter? Or, did it just become its own thing?
I would say it became its own thing. I mean, no one knew what we were all capable of in 2000 because we were such a horrible team, and we were 5-11 and kind of left there with our tails between our legs. And obviously Drew signed a big contract, so we came back, and you stepped on the field or into the locker room day one of 2001, and there was 75% turnover. So everyone was kind of new to the system. It was a complete revamp. So it was almost like that was our rookie year. And then we had a death of a coach in training camp. We had 9/11. We had obviously the injury. And then, the Joe Andruzzi had a couple brothers who were really heavily involved in the Trade Center, efforts. And, such a crazy year. And then going into the playoffs and the snowball, and then Tom gets hurt and plays in Pittsburgh, and Drew comes back and wins the game for us, and it's this controversy. I mean, the year was just like a whirlwind. But then obviously once we won and we had our guy, and it was kind of his team, and we all gelled together after that.
Absolutely. Now, looking at your, one of the big conversations we have here in the alumni is the pivot guys make after they play. It's something that you've done incredibly. And we talked about this a little bit yesterday off the air. Some of the things you've been able to do in the business world really amazed me, and the heights you've taken it to. What if you didn't play football when you were in college? What did you see yourself doing as a career?
I mean, it's funny because you go back to those days, and no one really knows. You just want to finish school. I wanted to play out my scholarship that I was fortunate enough to get. I didn't think I had an opportunity to play football. Towards the end of my senior year, I ran into my coach was drinking Red Bull all the time, and he's all fired up. He's just super fiery offensive line coach. And I was like, "What the hell are you drinking, man?" He's like, "Oh, it's this new stuff from Asia. It's called Red Bull. You got to try it." And so I drink it a little bit. I'm like, "Oh, this is awesome. Gets you a little pump." And I go to the league, and he's sending me Red Bulls, and I was like, "Well, where's the local guy? So you're gonna have to like ship me Red Bulls." And so I met the local guy, and then we start winning, and they're happy that Red Bull's in the locker room, and we're having Red Bulls before practice, and I'm paying the equipment manager to take them on the road and keep them cold for us before games. And then I'm going to events of theirs, and I meet their marketing team and their brand guys, and I'm just this is like snowballing. And, I like to have a good time, so I'm out at the parties, and it's the football guy. Look at his ring. And through that process, I run into the vice president of marketing, who we end up, we're best friends today. We work together on this brand, Kind Humans. It says kindness, pass it on. And he helped me get a role as kind of the first unsigned Red Bull ambassador in team sports, which then, as I'm leaving my career in Denver, he became the VP of marketing at GoPro and kind of like brought me into this, world of content and social media and production. And so, as I'm leaving college, I had no idea. I'm snowboarding. I'm finishing school. I'm kind of down on myself because I don't think I have a chance for the league. And then fast forward 20 years, it was those relationships and those kind of, that outreach that happened that helped, to where I'm at today.
That's incredible. And now you're like in the centerpiece. You understand the synergy of brands and athletes and celebrities influence. And that's what you're doing now. You're putting those things together and making those relationships bloom. When in your playing days or in your college life, did you start to see, damn, players can really have an impact in this business world?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it started with being that guy that would never really say no to an opportunity, whether it's, $100 to sign some autographs at a coffee shop down the road, or you got a walk in this fashion show for, to raise money for kids, wear something kind of funny that everyone's just going to, make fun of you for. Some guys charge 10, 15, 20, 50 grand for these types of things. And I was always the guy to just, all right, man, I'll be there for you and show up and do it because I liked people. I liked helping. So it really started on like a foundation for a cause. And then you meet these business people in Boston and you follow up with them, which, I'd go home with a pocket full of business cards. And the next day I'm texting or emailing these people. I was like, hey, thanks. Nice to meet you. If you ever need anything, let's do this. And it just snowballed. And that reputation, followed me into some of the other brands I met. And being from Southern California, action sports brands, the Oakleys and Burtons and Red Bulls and Rockstars, these were just part of the DNA of the guys I grew up with. So it's a really easy marriage, but I was always the master team sports guy in this kind of action sportsy world, minus the Under Armours and Nikes and whatnot. And would be the guy who kind of knew a guy, Yeah. I'm a guy who has a guy type of guy. So, people kind of knew me for that and it's helped.
That's crazy. A lot of times when we talk to alumni, they say their biggest regret during their playing days is not taking advantage of the networks and the business cards that were handed to them because they didn't realize at that time what it could be after their playing career. You knew that while you were playing. I wonder if that was like, what was that about you?
I don't know if I knew that. It's just my personality that people, I engage with people and I never, completely shun people out and give everyone that initial chance. And I like to have fun and people, I'd like to see people smile. People can say life of the party sometimes here and there, but, as a long snapper, you only get noticed if you screw it up. Right. So, for me, it's like I had to go above and beyond on the relationship side and stay silent on the field so that, I was just known for me and not for something I did wrong.
And that's a camp in there with the Patriots. You do not want to be known for anything wrong, folks. Now, Lonnie, with all the great teams that you played for, and now all of the great corporate companies that you've partnered with and worked with, how do you place Bill Belichick if you look at him as a company CEO? What kind of boss is he?
Honestly, he's the boss that you never knew you needed because you're so comfortable in the bosses that are, telling you that everything's okay and it's going to be all right. He's the guy who actually, calls out the bad stuff and tries to, don't repeat that error twice. Let's move on day to day, chip away at the goals. In the corporate world, you can get kind of complacent, if you're not hungry and you don't have that kind of sports mentality and sometimes in the corporate world, it's meeting to have another meeting to figure out what meeting is next and to you never move forward, just tread water.
Right.
And I'm a make shit happen.com type of guy. So for me, if I didn't make it happen that day, I feel like I'm getting cut, kind of that Patriot way. You feel like you just didn't do it good enough and your job's on the line, whether it is or it isn't. That's to be determined. But, taking that approach, which he kind of installed in us, what I try to bring to the business world and it's helped me. And so him as a boss, it's not fun a lot of times, but there's success at the end of it.
Now we're using Radio Row here to bring some awareness to financial literacy for our guys. And we're doing it by asking, when you first started getting paid in the NFL, you're making money now. Was there any investments or purchases that you made, worst purchase, where you say, oh man, I wish I could get that money back?
kidding me? There's a long list of that stuff. I was just young, and I mean, I have videos online of my beautiful home in Southern California that I tried to put this MTV Cribs type of pool in, and throw these amazing events and parties, and not to mention I didn't do the background search on the actual guy doing it, but he scammed me, and I lost a bunch of money on that. And it happened around the worst time to buy real estate in 07, 08. So this is all kind of just a handful of things coming together. But where I'm at today, 95% of the people I meet in the industry is like, man, I remember that house you had, man. Those are some of the best times of my life. So what are you going to do? Like, I didn't know that issue was going to actually turn into this kind of iconic time in their lives as well. But it worked out, and I was able to meet a girl, get married, who actually brings some of these decisions into light, and makes she's a very frugal person, so that's helped me kind of find that path.
And that's a piece of advice that a lot of guys have been getting. Be frugal. Come into the league, be frugal as you can. Now, on the opposite side of the coin, what is the best investment or proudest spending that you've gotten into?
I wouldn't say it's one thing that I do. I mean, along the way, I've always been someone who's invested in my relationships. So whether it's, making a donation when it's necessary and not asking anything in return, or it's, even some of these corporate jobs I've had, some of these contractors will hire, and then not saying this is the right thing to do, but some of these contractors, the invoicing process takes so long that sometimes I just feel so bad. I need my relationship to stay tight. So, they did a $1,500 job. The company's going to pay them back in 90 days, but they need it now. I'll front that. Not saying it's right, but I'll go out on a limb because I know when they get paid, they'll reimburse me. And those relationships have paid off because I'm more of that honest, upfront guy, and those things have worked. And now, is that the right or wrong thing to do? I don't know. But I work with relationships and things that I can touch right in hands reach, and not, have this big picture idea that it'll never happen.
And that's what you've done. Like, that's what, when I look at your career now, it's like you take good vibes, good energy, and good synergy, and that's where you make things happen. It's a beautiful zone you've created. So, all right. So we got a quiz question for you, and I like this one coming out of the house story. So, Lonnie, excluding mortgage debt, the average American is in how much debt? A, 4,500, B, 38,000, C, 27,000, or D, 16,900?
C,
27. Folks, the correct answer is B, $38,000. The average American is in debt. Whoa.
Wow. Yeah. That's, that's only take on a little bit of debt if you have a plan to chip away at it. Sometimes it's a necessity. I have some debt on my house and things, but I'm able to financially take care of those along the way. I'm not a finance major. That's why I got people who help me along the way. I'm more of a sometimes I hit on a face card, but it's paid off. But I'm making better decisions now that I'm older. So that's
folks,
good.
Use your networks. That is the lesson of the day today. And Lonnie, I don't think this is going to be a shocking answer here, but this Sunday, who do you got to take home the Lombardi Trophy?
I mean, you put our boy TB12 in the final game of the year with all eyes on him against no matter who in the history of the game. I'm taking him. So their defense is playing well. Patrick Mahomes is lights out in their offense, but what Bill always said, let's take away their top two weapons and make them win with 3 and 4. So, I'm assuming that's what Tom is kind of taking to this game plan. And hopefully their defense will take away Kelsey and Hill as much as they can, at least, and then make Mahomes beat him with the other guys.
It's going to be a blockbuster, folks. And Lonnie, as our tech guru here at the NFL Alumni, when are we going to see camera angles in the quarterback's helmet that we're actually getting to see as the viewer on TV. Are we going to see it?
Well, we already did that at GoPro. I put a helmet. We removed the lens from a camera and we put it right on the tip of the bill. We did it in the Pro Bowl. We did it in the Big 12 championship game. But at the end of the day, it wasn't selling GoPro cameras. It was a cool angle. But, you know, the NFL says, oh, hey, why don't you pay us $1 million for you to do that for us? You know, so big business got us. It's available today, but for safety issues, I don't know when it's going to be in the helmet. I know they're testing it. I know a couple guys like Dhani Jones is involved in the company that's working on things like that. But, you know, cameras in helmets is just it's more of a safety thing, and also it's a rights thing. You know, the players don't want to really hear what you're saying. They don't want you to hear what they're saying all the time. Right. You know, same with the refs. They were very concerned on the audio more than the visuals.
Yeah, that's got to be kind of annoying. The more audio is being brought into the game from a player perspective, it's like you almost you can't be yourself in a way.
Yeah. I mean, the fans want to see it, but the players, you know, when you're between the lines, there's a little bit of, you know, that's your safe zone.
Different world, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, when guys are mic'd up, it's like, hey, I got a mic on. Watch out what you're saying.
All right.
So.
Oh, man. Well, Lonnie, thank you so much for taking the time to catch in with us. And we will be tapping you for any tech questions because you are at the forefront of all these new things developing. Folks, if you want to follow Lonnie, head over to Instagram. It's simple. Lonnie Paxton. Lonnie, thank you so much.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I had a blast.